Okay, so once again, I'm going to be doing an early look, making this video shortly after lock of the games tonight. So we'll see how the slate finishes tonight for me. But yeah, we got 4 games to talk about on Thursday's slate. If you guys are new, welcome to my channel. Again, we'll be talking about the NBA DFS slate. Also make content for NFL DFS as well as Prize Picks. If you guys are playing the Showdown tomorrow for NFL, you can check out my video. It's a pretty gross one. Yeah, there is money to be made, I guess. So Prize Picks, they are the sponsor of the video. If you guys want to use the code DKDFS, or if you're a first-time user, I should say, you can use the code DKDFS. That'll give you a 100% match up to $100. So basically a free $100 to play with on the site. It is a player prop site where you can build 2, 3, 4, up to 5 player props, and you can win up to 10 extra money. You can mix and match sports, all the different sports listed up top. So it's very fun. And if you guys want to give it a try, make sure to take advantage of that free money. And premium content you can check on my Patreon, linked down below. All right, so with all that being said, let's just get into the video. Dallas and Washington's the first game. So Dallas, Christian Wood is going to be out for this game as well. He missed the game today. And basically the whole offense, if you just took a look at the Dallas box score, was Luka and Dinwiddie. And that was literally it. There's no one else that did anything. So at the top, Luka Doncic, 12-5, I think makes for one of the best spin-ups in the slate. Washington, I'm not scared of them defensively. So, yeah, if you have the salary for Luka, he looks really, really good. I also do like Dinwiddie. Without Christian Wood, he was very clearly their second option, and he had a great game. I don't know exactly what he finished with because he wasn't on the main slate, but yeah, Dinwiddie had a phenomenal game. They did start Dwight Powell. He dealt with some foul trouble. You saw a little bit of run for JaVale McGee as the backup 5, and then you also saw some small ball Maxi Kleber. That's kind of what I would expect going forward. At 5.1K, a little bit tough to prioritize Powell. If you're going to give me 10 to 15 minutes of McGee, yes, he's playable, but again, still don't love the price point. I actually think the big guy I like the best here would be Maxi Kleber, who did see 30-plus minutes. Didn't do a ton with that run, but at 3.4K, I think he's my favorite of those cheap Mavs bigs. And then we kind of know what else is going on here. Dorian Finney-Smith will play big minutes. He's fine for value, but low usage guy. Josh Green been seeing a little bit of run off the bench, more of a large field tournament play. Tim Hardaway Jr., the minutes have been ticking down on him, but he's a guy that will chuck when he's on the court, so he's always playable for tournaments. And Reggie Bullock, another one of those low usage guys, his minutes have also been ticking down. I think if I had to pick between DFS and Bullock, I would rather just spend up a little bit more for Dorian Finney-Smith, where I think his minutes are more secure. All right, on the Washington side, so some of these guys are priced up with Beal out. DeLon Wright's still out as well. And honestly, there's no, you would think there'd be a lot of standout plays here for Washington with Beal out, but there really aren't. The price points went up on Porzingis and Kuzma. I'll say both are more contrarian plays. 8.5K, Porzingis has dealt with a bit of foul trouble. He should be their go-to guy. It is a revenge game narrative if you're into that. So Porzingis definitely still in play, but he's not as good of a play as he was the previous couple slates. Kyle Kuzma, 7-4. Again, him and Porzingis should lead the way offensively. But like I said, they both feel priced about right. Monte Morris minutes have ticked up with Beal out. 33, 32 minutes last couple games. So the production hasn't been amazing. Kind of just indifferent on him in the mid-range. Jordan Goodwin has played really well off the bench. I'm a little bit hesitant, though. He shot 7 of 7 last game. So, I'm not convinced we're going to see Jordan Goodwin averaging 1.5 fantasy points per minute for this team. So, I do have interest, but he might be a bit over-owned. And then Rui and Denny, they'll kind of split the power forward minutes. Denny will start. They'll kind of go with the hot hand for closing the game. So they're both playable. I don't love either. Rui has done a bit better of late. I do have interest in Will Barton. I would say he's probably my favorite option. Now, he didn't do much in 27 minutes last game. But the positive is he played 27 minutes. So 24 minutes here, 27 minutes here. Really haven't seen the big game from Barton, but we know he's a guy that does have a ceiling. So I actually do like Will Barton. He's probably my favorite play on the Washington side. Corey Kispert will start. He'll probably play low 20s minutes, low usage guy. And yeah, he's playable, but I don't love it. And then Daniel Gafford, he'll play the backup 5. If you think Porzingis gets some foul trouble, you can take a shot on Gafford, who's gone for 18 and 16 fantasy points the last 2 games. All right, so Charlotte, Miami, tough spot here for the Hornets, and no standouts here for me. Terry Rozier, 8-6, I would say more of a contrarian option. Miami, definitely a solid defensive team. Kelly Oubre, I'm pretty sure he started the game off, or tonight off, at least for the first quarter. He was doing really well, which tilts me because I've played a lot of Kelly Oubre over the last couple of weeks, but He's a guy that will get shots up. He does have a ceiling. Dennis Smith Jr. at 6'1". He should start and play around 30 minutes. I don't love the price point there. PJ, Jalen McDaniels, they're both neutral plays for me. PJ probably plays around 30 to 35 minutes. McDaniels, we probably see mid to high 20s minutes. Plumlee and Richards, they will split the center minutes. Plumlee, again, some games he'll close, some games he won't. Richards, if he plays really well, can see extended run. Richards is 4K, Plumlee's 5K, so it might be a little bit easier to get to Richards, but I think the minutes are a bit more secure on Plumlee. I mean, if you want to take a shot on like a James Bouknight off the bench, you can. He's played over 20 minutes the last 4 games. I do have a little bit of interest in him just because he's a guy that's, being aggressive when he's on the court. I don't really know if I want to mess like JT Thor or Maladon, though. So that is it for Charlotte. On the Miami side, Tyler Hero news is big. We also are waiting on the status of Martin, that being, it's Caleb Martin, yeah. So those 2 pieces of news are pretty important. If both Hero and Martin are out, I would guess that you see Max Strus stay in the starting lineup, and then they could do a couple things. They could throw Duncan in the starting lineup, or maybe they could go to like Haywood Highsmith in the starting lineup. But yeah, if both the guys are out, Miami would be pretty thin. So if they're both out, Jimmy Bam look a little bit better. I think I would give the edge to Bam and Abayo. Also love targeting bigs against the Charlotte Hornets, but Jimmy Butler would still be a solid option if there's no Hero. Kyle Lowry feels priced about right, but the positive here is he's playing huge minutes. And if there's no Tyler Hero, again, he should have a little bit more usage, so totally fine with him in the mid-range. Max Strus got in some foul trouble last game, so only played 25 minutes. Wouldn't be super worried about it. If both Hero and Martin are out, I think you get like 35 minutes from Strus, who would look good. And like I said, I think you get a little bit more run for Gabe Vincent, a little bit more run for Duncan Robinson, who's scoring dependent, but I mean, he played 29 minutes last game. Gabe Vincent, not a bad point per minute guy. He can play some alongside Lowry. He played 35 minutes last game with Strus getting in foul trouble. Dedmon's the backup 5. I don't really think his role changes much. But yeah, if Martin and Hero are both out, you may get a guy like Highsmith or Jovic in the rotation. So we'll keep an eye on what they do if both those guys are out. Now, if they're both in, I don't know if there's any standout plays for me for Miami, but, the top-end guys would still be fine. Still would have a little bit of interest in guys like Vincent, Martin, Strus. So that's pretty important news to keep an eye on. Philadelphia and Atlanta. We know James Harden's going to be out for, I think, at least a month. So Joel Embiid at the top looks good. We know he struggled this year, but 37 minutes against Phoenix, so there's no sort of limitations. 1 for 55 fantasy points. I do like Joel Embiid at the top. Maxey, Harris, Melton, that's where the other, the rest of the offense is going to come from. Maxey had a really bad shooting game last game, shot 4 of 18, but he's still getting a lot of shots up. 22, 20, 29, and 18 shot attempts from Maxey. Tobias Harris has played a bit more last couple games, 37, 38 minutes. He's been solid. D'Anthony Melton should play over 30 minutes. He feels priced about right, but still in play. So we know where the offense is coming from. The rest of Philadelphia, it's hard to feel good about anyone. Montrez was out of the rotation last game. They went to Paul Reed as the backup 5. You did see a good game from Niang, who played 27 minutes. I think he's playable. Last 3 games, 14, 27, 19, and 27 minutes. So if he's going to consistently play around 20 minutes, he's definitely a viable value option. But with the starters playing so many minutes, it's hard to get to anyone else. Paul Reed, again, he played the backup 5 last game, but they could always go to Montrez. PJ Tucker is still playing, 25 to 30 minutes, but it's PJ Tucker. He's playable for value. You're never going to feel good about playing Tucker, but yeah, you're just not getting a lot of run for anyone else. Shake Milton, like low teens minutes. Danwell House has been out of the rotation last few games. Korkmaz at times will see a few minutes, but he hasn't really been playing much this season. Matisse Thybulle been playing a little bit, but again, he's a low usage guy, so outside of the main guys, a little bit interested in Yang, I guess a little bit interested in PJ Tucker, but that's about it. On the Atlanta side, so we did get news that Trae Young was in today, so Atlanta relatively easy to talk about. Young, Murray, that's where the offense is running through. I think if I had to pick between the two, it would be Trae Young, but both guards are solid plays, more tournament plays for me, but both guys do have a ceiling. John Collins dealt with some foul trouble. He's been a little bit up and down of late, but 6.3K does make him in play. Capella and Okongwu are going to split the center minutes. Capella's 5'9", Okongwu's 3'6", so I think I would give the edge to Okongwu. I saw in the first half, I think AJ Griffin only played 6 minutes, so don't really think we can go to him. I know we had a big game last game with Trae Young out. DeAndre Hunter, kind of indifferent on him. He'll play most likely over 30 minutes, but Not going to do a ton offensively. You're going to see some bench run, a little bit of run for Holiday, Jalen Johnson, Justin Holiday, but there's like no standouts here for value. Just Atlanta's another team that's playing their starters a lot. And final game here, we got Portland, we got New Orleans. So the game tonight for Portland, Nurkic and Grant both missed. So you most likely get Winslow and Eubanks in starting lineup. So if they are both out again, Eubanks is going to be a very, very popular value. He started the game off really hot tonight. Winslow would be a solid play too. He didn't have the best start, but we know Winslow's normally a decent point per minute guy. And then you would get a little bit more run from Nasir Little off the bench, as well as Watford. I'm not sure why Watford's 5.2K though. That price point doesn't make a ton of sense. As far as the top end guys go, Lillard and Simons, no priorities, but I always like Dame for GPP. Simons feels a little pricey with Dame back. Josh Hart, 6'5", that feels priced about right. Now, if Nurkic and Grant are both in, then there's no real standouts for me for Portland. It would kind of take Winslow and Eubanks out of play. So that's going to be pretty important. If Nurkic and Grant, again, both play, Nurkic is fine, but his minutes have been up and down, and then Jeremy Grant feels a little bit overpriced. Finally, the Pelicans. So the tricky part about the Pelicans is, you never know who it's going to be that is the big game on a night-to-night basis. Now, I do want to see since the game's going on right now, I'm not going to be able to see exactly how it goes. But with Larry Nance out, I'm curious, does JV get a big minutes bump, or do they just dust off Hernan Gomez, Jackson Hayes, or maybe play someone off the bench a bit more? So that's what I'm curious to see what ends up happening with the Pelicans tonight. But top-end guys, Zion, Ingram, CJ, all in play for tournaments. If I had to pick one, it probably would be Zion Williamson. But we know the ceiling is definitely there for those three. And then JV, kind of depends on how many minutes he plays. If JV played over 30 minutes tonight, or plays over 30 minutes tonight, then I would have a lot of interest in him. If he's still in that low 20s minute range, then I probably can't do it. Bench guys, just not a ton here with Trey Murphy, Najee Marshall, Alvarado. Alvarado is going to play about 15 or so minutes. I guess it's fine. Herbert Jones, he's playing big minutes, but not doing a ton with them. Murphy, Marshall, their minutes have ticked down with everyone kind of healthy. They're not completely out of play, but again, Marshall, 9, 12, 6 minutes. He's almost been out of the rotation. Devontae Graham's 3-5. His minutes have ticked down as well. So a little bit tough to feel good about any of these value plays. Again, the one thing I am curious about to see is how many minutes does JV play tonight without Larry Nance? So, hey guys, that's going to wrap it up for the 4-game slate. Again, if you have been enjoying the content, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. I appreciate everyone's support as always, and I'll see you in the next video.